Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read guitar tablature. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I do guitar lessons primarily here, and I use tablature a lot in order to teach. It is very easy to do. I originally learned how to read tablature back in the 80s from a guitar magazine. It took me about 5 minutes to learn. It really is that simple and easy to pick up. And it's going to open up so many avenues of learning for you. You're going to wonder why you didn't learn it before. So within this video, I'm going to show you all of the essentials, the fundamentals of tablature. But if there's anything that I missed, if you're reading through other tabs out there and you've got questions, feel free to leave them down below and I will answer them as time allows. All right, first, let's look at a blank tablature staff. And oftentimes you'll see the word tab written on the far left corner of it. Now, I tend to remove that from my lessons, but you'll often see it there. Now, each line represents a string on the guitar. And the best way to think of it is while you're looking down at your guitar neck, while it's in your lap or while you're standing up and you're looking down on it, the first string that's closest to you, that's the low E string. That's going to be the bottom of the staff lines. And then after that, you've got the A string, followed by the D string, the G, the B, and the high E at the very top. So again, think of it that way. Think of it as looking down on the fretboard while the guitar's in your lap. Okay, now you'll see the number 3 is placed on the second string from the bottom, the A string. What that means is you're playing the 3rd fret of the A string. And whenever you read tablature, you're reading left to right. So let's add 2 more notes in the mix. Now you can see I've added in the 5th fret of the G string and the 6th fret of the B string. And again, when playing this, you would read it from left to right. Now here's another example, and this one is a 6-note run with the first 3 notes on the A string, followed by the next 3 notes on the D string. So we go 2, 3, 5 on the A string, and then 2, 4, 5 on the D string. Now, when an open string is used, you'll see a 0. So in this example right here, you'll see that we're using the open G string. All right, now when you do a chord and you're playing the chord all at once, all the notes are going to be straight up and down on the staff, right? Because again, normally you're reading left to right, but when you're playing them all at the same time, there they are, all vertically in the same column. So here's a C major 7th and a G chord. Now let's go back to those original 3 notes. If we wanted those notes to ring out, what you would typically see is right above the notes, above the staff lines, you'll see a little notation that says let ring. Okay, and then to the right of that, you can see the distance from which you're going to let the notes ring. So all these notes are included. Next up, we're going to talk about palm muting. Whenever you're expected to palm mute the strings, and hopefully you know what that is, but in case you don't, basically it's when you rest the side of your picking hand on the strings to kind of slightly mute them. It's often done in rock guitar playing to give it kind of a chunky sound. But in order to notate palm muting, you'll see PM above the notes. So in this example here, all of the notes and the chords that you're seeing are palm muted. Okay, now we're going to move into some lead guitar techniques or notations. And first we have vibrato. So in this first example, we're playing the 7th fret of the D string, and you'll notice right above it, that little squiggly line, that means you're applying vibrato. Now in this next one, we've got another vibrato, but this time it's a wide vibrato. Look at them side by side. You can see the regular vibrato on the left and the wide vibrato on the right. Now with this next example here, we're going to show you hammer-ons and pull-offs. So first we're going to hammer on from the 5th fret of the G to the 7th fret. You'll notice that below it, you'll see the H for hammer. And there's a little line that kind of connects the 5 and the 7, the 2 notes there right above it. That's just, again, to remind you that's where the hammer-on is occurring. Now for a pull-off, you'll see the similar look, but there'll be a P below. And in this next example, you can see there's a hammer-on and a pull-off. So you're hammering on from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, and then pulling off to the 5th fret. Next we have a trill. And a trill is when you basically hammer on and pull off rapidly, quickly. And sometimes you'll see it tabbed out where every single note is notated like this, but when the person doing the notating wants to save some time, they'll put this symbol over it. See the TR, that's for trill, with the 5th note being the note that you're originally picking, and the 7th note being the note that you're trilling on and off of. Next, we're going to go into string bends. So here we've got the 7th fret of the D string, and we're bending up 1 full step. Now 1 full step is the equivalent of 2 frets. So it's like bending from here to here. That's a full step. So next up you can see we have a 1/2 step bend, which is basically the equivalent of bending up 1 fret. So from here to here. Now we have a bend and release. So you're bending up and coming down. So we're bending up a full step and coming down. Now you'll see other variations of bends where it could be, a 1/4 step or 1.5 step or 2 steps. A 1/4 step basically is when you're bending halfway up 1 fret. So it's a slight little bend. And the 1.5 is like going up 3 frets, etc. So just remember that rule. A full step or one step is 2 frets. Next we have slides. So here we're sliding up into the 9th fret of the G string, and then we're sliding down. Now we could have a slide between 2 particular notes, like in this example where we're sliding from the 9th fret of the G up to the 11th fret. Now we're going to move into harmonics, and we'll start with natural harmonics. You'll see that it's notated by an NH above the note for natural harmonic, and the note will be in like parentheses or brackets. So in this example, we're playing the 7th fret of the D, followed by the 7th fret of the G, followed by the 7th fret of the B string, and then finally the 12th fret of the high E. Now for artificial or pinch harmonics, you'll see an AH above the note. So here we're playing a artificial harmonic at the 7th fret of the G string. And then if we add vibrato, it would look like this. You see the AH for artificial harmonic, followed by the vibrato. Now sometimes you're going to hit the strings, but you're going to be muting the strings so it kind of does that scratch sound like you might find in like funk, for example. What you'll see tabbed in that case is basically an X over the string that you're doing the scratch on. All right, next up we have finger tapping, and in this example you can see there's a T below the 9th fret of the B string. The T stands for tap, so you're finger tapping. You're taking your right index finger or whatever your picking index finger is, and you're tapping onto that string. It's finger tapping. So in this example, you're tapping onto the 9th fret, you're pulling off to the 2nd fret, you can see the P below, and then you're hammering back onto the 5th fret. You can see the H below that. Again, tap, pull, hammer. Next we have whammy bar dips. So here we are playing the 7th fret of the G string, and you can see there's a little 1 above it, and a kind of a line sloping down. That means you're doing a whammy bar dip down, the equivalent of 1 step or 2 frets. So like this. Now sometimes you see the line dipping down and coming back up. That means you're doing a whammy bar dip down and back up. Again, 1 step down in this case. Next we have tremolo picking. If you're not familiar with that, basically that's where you're just picking 1 note fast. And so a lot of times what tab notators will do is you're going to tremolo pick at the 5th fret of the G string. Instead of tabbing out the number 5 over and over and over, you can put these 3 lines above, which symbolizes tremolo picking. So in this example here, we're tremolo picking the 5th fret of the G string, then we're sliding up to the 7th, sliding up to the 9th, and then sliding up to the 12th. Now occasionally you'll see people use these following 2 notations to symbolize whether you're doing a upstroke or a downstroke with your picking hand. So in this example, you can see that we're starting with a downstroke and then we're alternating upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. Okay, here is your cheat sheet. So what you want to do right now is pause the screen, take a screenshot or snag it or whatever you do to capture images from your screen, and you can put that aside and use it for easy reference. All right, that was my quick tutorial showing you how to read guitar tablature. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, if you see any tabs out there, whether they're mine or other people's, and you have questions on how to interpret them, just leave me a note below and I will answer all questions as time allows. If you like this video, I'd appreciate that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already, in case you want to catch some of my lessons in the future. All right, until next time, rock on.